All right, guys, welcome to another Fast Forward. This is my Only Cavalry game, a game where I literally built only cavalry. And my last Fast Forward, I tried to do as quickly as I could, and I condensed, I want to say, 2 months down into an hour. I can do better. So what I'm going to do is try to make this as quick as possible. You can see here, I'm starting off really just sort of regular, just like anybody else on a 31 player map. Let's go ahead and go on to the next video. See how I expanded, okay, into this. And so I did skip more than I wanted to here in terms of, I don't have a regular schedule for recording these videos. I do have a job. So anyway, but what I explained in this one is that I did take a lot of chances. And I got really, really lucky because I attacked up into Russia and then he attacked down with a big stack. And that's kind of what's currently happening here. That's a giganto stack right there. Let me see if I can zoom in on it a little bit closer so that we can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, he's coming down with a big old stack. Look at that. And that's exactly what you want to happen when you're kicking the hornet's nest. So what I'm doing at this point in the game is bringing everyone I can in the vicinity up to here and building those fort levels. Now, I've been building that fort since he was coming down, and now he's on enemy territory. He's on my territory here, moving really, really slow. And so I had time to build up, I believe, 2 fort levels while he was just crawling along towards me from such a long distance away. So that was a really, really big thing that happened early in the game. Really lucky for me that that he came after me like that into a fort. And so I think it was the last thing he did as an actual human character before he quit the game. All right, let's move on to the next video. Okay, here's what it looks like from the zoomed out view. And you can see here that the first cavalry are starting to appear on the map. So it's pretty early still, but those cavalry are starting to appear and they will make a difference. All right, so once again here in this next video, we'll go to the zoomed out view. You can see I'm expanding here into northern Russia, and I'm also simultaneously at war now here in Eastern Europe. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, a quick little close-up view of what's going on up here in northern Russia. There's very few troops up here. Once you break through, you can usually sweep up and clear out the rest of this. That's what I'm doing here, clearly. And here's what's going on against Poland. Now, you will notice that I do have a couple armored cars. Those are cars that I inherited. I attacked in, and the enemy was building armored cars, and they developed. So I figured I have adhered to the rules of this. I have not built armored cars. They happened, basically I stole them. So I stole some cars. You can see by this time I do have allies in Germany over here, and you can see they're attacking into Warsaw at the same time as I am. And by this time I'm starting to get a few cavalry, maybe 10 on the map. So moving forward. All right, here's a nice larger view of the next video. You can see I've expanded completely all the way into northern Russia, and I've decided to leave the AIs alone to come down and start to confront this. He's no longer a player character, obviously, but I'm coming down to attack into here. So I'm leaving the AIs, all 3 AIs, along the eastern border here alone, and concentrating instead on taking this, and partially because Germany over here is expanding quickly and nicely. So I'd like to take some territory here before I turn my attention southwards into the Middle East and potentially into Greece. So by this time, I will say, let's go ahead and zoom in. So I just listened to a little bit of this video. I do have 21 guys and 9 cavalry coming down from the north. I believe in the south, I have about 10 or 12 cavalry. So we're starting to see more like 20 cavalry on the map at the same time. All right, here's the overview on this next video. You can see I've completely cleared out the north and consolidated and moved everything south here and starting to attack here into Greece. And you can see we kind of stabilized this whole frontier here. My allies have captured, and now we have a common frontier here. That's really good news because obviously we don't have to guard against each other. There are 3 of us in this alliance. I believe it's Austria, Hungary, Germany, and I. And that alliance is really what allows me to concentrate on focused attacks. So let's zoom in a little bit. All right, this is a pretty nice view of what's going on here. You can see I'm moving down with pretty big stacks of infantry, all of them bolstered by cavalry. Over here, I'm starting to build up for a southward offensive down here into the Middle East. And so things are going really well at this point. And also, I'm finding that I'm actually not only in first place, but way ahead in first place. So that's kind of fun. It's like, well, I'm not building anything but cavalry are OP. So let's move to the next video. All right, you can see by this time I've cleared up all of Russia, all of Eastern Europe, and I'm moving down here and cleaning up the rest of this business over here. And we will move in close here because I'm gathering a big force here to attack down into the Middle East to continue this massive offensive. Meanwhile, I do have about, I think I want to say 30 to 40 cavalry on the map. Now, I want to address something. A lot of people have said to me, well, it's a 31-player map, like, anyone can beat a 31-player map. Look, I know that, okay? I know that. Obviously, 31-player maps, people quit early. It's not a high-level play. It's not a 100-player map. It's not a 500-player map. But it's still a fun way to try out a particular novelty strategy, especially one that cripples you and keeps you from building higher-level units. So those of you who, well, actually me, I get it. You're right. Like, this is a low-level game, but it was fun. It was fun to just sort of like be like, well, what happens if I just build a bunch of horses, So here's what happened. All right, let's check the next video. All right, so at this point, you can see I'm streaming in. I'm kind of unstoppable because really, if you look at this is just all AI here. And, the AI does a good job of, populating with infantry. They do build factories very slowly, and they will build some other units like, cavalry, armored cars, possibly some cannon later on. But at this point, I'm really just steamrolling. That's what's going on here. You will notice that I did have war declared on me, and whatever this person is took back this. And that's, again, what the AI kind of does. It's just sort of float in groups of 10 or 20 into the backcountry. So one of the things I instituted for this game was anyone who develops in the north stays and gathers and fights in the north. So a little Game of Thrones reference, the north stands for the north. All right, so I'm not even going to zoom in on this one. You can see what's happening here. All right, here we go. You can see I've taken back some of this territory. I'm starting to push up into this region. I've started to gather and send people up here. I do have a couple of doubles up here that I've been building cavalry in. Now, at this point, we do have a lot of cavalry, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. When we get to the end of the game, I will tell you how much cavalry I had on the map at the same time. But you can see I'm attacking now across this little strait here into Egypt, and just the train keeps on a-rolling. You can see up here I'm conquering back a lot of the territory that was taken from me up here. And yeah, there's not a lot to say at this point. I'm just sort of streaming in troops and just sort of conquering forward. I will say I've been using the flower method, which I call the skewer, because really what you're doing is you're attacking through them repeatedly, and you're not even attacking really. You're move commanding through them with smaller stacks. And what that does is just delivers a lot of damage all at one time. And of course, you take damage too. It's not particularly an advantage in terms of kill ratios, but it is an advantage in quick conquering. And that's what I was interested in this game, especially using cavalry, just quickly conquering, taking, and then utilizing those new resources of the conquered territories. All right, we're getting close to the end. There's no reason to show that big map because here's where the action's going on. My allies have attacked down into Middle East here, and so you can see I'm kind of attacking across them into additional victims over here. And you can see I'm moving with big stacks by now. Really a lot of horses, a lot of individual human people here. Big stacks of 100 here or more, several of them. And they're moving in now and moving across to sort of finish up this end game. I did want to go ahead and share this. This is what I gathered at one point in the game here. I gathered the entire map, and I ended up with 572 infantry and 88 cavalry. So, and I think there was even some areas that I hadn't quite gathered. But that's a pretty good idea of where I'm at this point in the game in terms of cavalry growth. 88 cavalry. Wouldn't it be fun to just gather them all together and attack someone just with 88 cavalry? They'd be like, what the hell is happening? Look at all those horses. Horses, folks. That's what we're talking about here. So the swarm continues. So I'm just marching westward now. kind of crossing this zone where my allies came down and took some territory. And, I think maybe at this point, they're trying to kind of gather as much territory as they can. We are going to win a coalition victory here. So, I mean, if one wins, we all win kind of situation. But you can see, I mean, there's not much to say. More of the same. I'm just streaming down stuff this entire time. I'm trying to continue to buy cavalry. You can see up here, I went ahead and buttoned up all of this. And now this is all green and blue. No more enemies up in that region. At one point, I did go ahead and take the AIs over here because, why not? And so at this point, I'm really just sort of capturing westward until we win the game. And here's what happened. Okay, so we did win. Not much gold, 3,500. This is a small map, as some people have been kind enough to point out to me. I have thought about doing a 100 map with cavalry only. That might be the next thing I do. And I was thinking, if I do that, I kind of want to invite 4 other idiots along and see if we can all do cavalry only. And some people have said, well, we should all specialize. You do cavalry, I'll do, armored cars. Someone else will do cannon, and that would be fun. But I like the idiot idea of just horses. We're all just like, can you imagine that you're playing and this coalition comes, you come up against this coalition, and then just all of a sudden there's just horses everywhere. So I love the idea. All right. Thanks for checking in, guys. This has been fun. I will see y'all next time. Adios, amigos.